Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 14 Pro and see how this particular iPhone holds up in the later part of 2023. Now, this is a very interesting story because, from what I can tell, this is a pretty good device. I think it's still holding up very, very well. It's not perfect though, but I will say for the most part, I think if you're going to go ahead and buy a particular phone, it doesn't really get too much better than this thing. Like, of course, the iPhone 15 Pro is going to be giving you a better experience, but I feel like the iPhone 14 Pro, for everything that I've kind of ever messed with with this particular device, I've gotten a very good experience, and I still think it's 100% worth buying. But there's been a few changes this particular year. We've got its first major release update from this thing, so iOS 17, and we also got the next iPhone of this thing as well, the iPhone 15 Pro. So we got the successor, this phone got the next version of software, and it did end up, basically getting discontinued from Apple, as most Pro models do after a year. I will tell you though, the exterior of this phone still holds up extremely, extremely well. Definitely one of the better outsides of phones that we've seen in a very, very long amount of time. For many years, Apple pretty much kept the same outside of their phone, at least with the display, with the notch and everything. We ended up getting ProMotion on the 13 Pro, but we ended up getting this dynamic island on the 14 Pro, which it started on this particular phone, and that's a very cool thing. I was very happy that we ended up getting ProMotion on this type of device because it is just one of those cool features. So right now, I'm very happy that we have the dynamic island. Again, it's not like perfect. A smaller hole punch would have been perfect, but this thing is still very good. And I definitely do like this phone from that standpoint. And its ProMotion as well, which is really cool at 120 Hertz. Now, flat-sided phone, this was one of the last iPhones with that reflective material on the sides. It's funny that Apple changed this and removed it because it was genuinely one of my most favorite things going on with this particular phone. On the bottom, you have a lightning port. This was also one of the last iPhones to have a lightning port. All iPhones now have USB-C, which is probably the best thing ever, but lightning I still think is perfectly fine for the most part, and you're really not going to feel like you're missing out on that much with having a lightning port, from what I can tell. Now on the back, frosted glass back, which still holds up very, very well. You're getting that triple camera setup as well with that LiDAR sensor. Now in my personal opinion, having this type of phone with MagSafe, with wireless charging, with IP certification, with dynamic island, ProMotion, everything on the outside screams to me that the hardware of this phone still holds up very well. It wouldn't be the first iPhone I recommend buying, like I mentioned before, but I think Apple did a really good job with it, and it still gets a thumbs up from me from that perspective alone. Now another big thing is with software. We ended up getting the next version of software on this thing, and I definitely do think iOS 17 on the 14 Pros has held up decently well. The 14 Pro I've been traveling with for a little bit of time now, and I actually feel like iOS 17 has not been perfect, but I think it's been good. And I don't really notice too many more bugs that I didn't already have on iOS 16. Now, hardware-wise, there's not really been too many hardware defects since this camera shaking issue on the 14 Pro, which is good. So I haven't really had too many software hardware issues in that standpoint either. But compared to the iPhone 15 Pro, it's pretty crazy because the 15 Pro didn't seem like that big of an upgrade. I think for some people, maybe it was a bigger upgrade than I was expecting. But I will tell you, the iPhone 15 Pro, it is a better phone than the 14 Pro, but it's not that much better. It's not like you're going to buy the iPhone 14 Pro and feel like you have a way better phone. I feel like the 15 Pro is, maybe slightly better in some areas, but I think for the vast majority of people, buying something like the iPhone 14 Pro is probably going to be perfectly fine. You're going to be having a very, very decent experience with that particular phone as far as I know. So from what I can tell you, I definitely do think a phone like the iPhone 14 Pro is completely worth buying in the later part of 2023. It's a very good phone, not perfect, but I think it's completely worth buying, and it holds up very, very well against phones like the iPhone 14, against phones like the iPhone 15 Pro, and those types of devices. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.